I see the tactical transactional aspect of HR now being everyone's business, regardless of what title that they hold. Even if you're an individual contributor, how do you manage yourself? And I see ultimately the profession going towards, as I mentioned before, the ministered out portfolio. If you look at the knowledge economy, Facebook, Twitter, Google, what do they really own? Well, they don't really own a lot of assets. Yes, they own buildings, they own computers, paper clips, and desks, but that's not what pushes up the market cap. If you look at the gap between a company's assets and the market capitalization, and if you look at the S&P 500 since its inception, I believe in 1956, you will see that gap constantly widening. I believe in the first 20 minutes of the opening bell when Facebook went public, its market cap exceeded what it took many companies traditionally 20, 30, 40 years to achieve. So HR is really becoming the business of business. When an individual can create a huge market cap simply by writing an algorithm in his dorm room, it's no longer about having to organize tools and machines. It's really about the marketplace of ideas. And as long as that comes from people, to me, companies are going to live and die simply on people. If I define HR the way the C-level does, you mentioned Jack Welch, HR becomes even more important compared to the ways many HR people define their own profession, because ultimately people are the last field of competitive advantage. So I see HR going again towards the ministered out portfolio, where it will be the second most important job in the company, second to the CEO. If you look at the equation for economic growth, it's workforce times financial capital times productivity. Those three multiplies equals growth. That's how countries measure their growth. That's how a company can measure their growth. But if you look at those three multipliers, HR owns 100% of the workforce. They don't own any of the financial capital. We say the CFO owns that. But if you look at productivity, I would say that the CTO, through the technology he or she brings in, owns about half. But the other half of productivity is about job design. It's about how do you organize the culture of the company. It's about how are your recruitment tools refined so you're bringing in the top salespeople. So I might say that we own half of the productivity multiplier and certainly 100% of the workforce multiplier. So if I look at the equation of economic growth, workforce times financial capital times productivity, HR owns 50% of that. And that's where the profession is going, that we finally recognize what has always been true. And what makes these facts beyond dispute is that I'm not defining HR in a self-referential HR paradigm. I'm defining it through a business paradigm. So eventually, I believe the profession will get that, and those that don't, those companies through natural selection will simply no longer exist.